Hi, this is Brad and welcome to another video in the bitB training series. Today we're going to look at Add Device. So in other videos we've looked at auto discovery, we've added a seed device, and now we're going to look at adding a device IP address that's not a seed device. In order to do that, open bitB, click on Device, and then Manage IPs. You'll see two tabs, Seed Device IPs, Device IPs. Seed Device IPs are used as the first IP address that you enter into bitB so that you can discover the network. It's the IP address that knows the most about the network. Device IPs are IP addresses that maybe for some reason they weren't auto-discovered. They weren't in an ARP cache or a CP neighbor of another device that was discovered during auto-discovery, and you want to add that device manually or that IP address manually. Okay, that's where device IPs come in, and you can add those manually in here. So let's just say I wanted to add an IP address. I would just type the IP address in, and 99% of the time you're going to say use credential list. I could provide credentials individually, but most of the time you have like either you're using TACACS or something like that, or a password from Active Directory, or in a database someplace. So that password is usually your password used for most devices. So you can just add that and enter that in a credential list and just say use credential list and then say add. That adds it to the list of IP addresses that you want to have discovered and added to bitB. The other option you have too is you can also import. Import will actually take a standard list of IP addresses, space name, common name, whatever you want to do. It could be IP address first, name first, it doesn't matter. As long as the IP address is in there or the name's in there. If the name's in there, it'll try to resolve. If an IP address is in there, it'll use the IP address and also try to resolve. And if there's duplicates, it'll just ignore the duplicates. Okay. So now that we did that, we can say start add IP address. Right now it's going to go use the credential list. And if we want to watch this in action, we have a tab right here called Add Device IPs. And you can see what's happening for that specific IP. Now, if you click on event log, then you see all the events, like it's discovering all the tables and everything like that for that device. But this one is actually, the add device IP is actually looking at that process. Okay. And as you can see here, my device was added. It was a switch. I have it in my bitB database now. I could click on a map, show a logical drawing, and there's my device. That's simple. If you want to add more IP addresses, you can go back to Device, Manage IP, and you can add more manual IP addresses in there. You'll see that the 120.1 is still in there. It says success, so that'll just be ignored. You can leave it in there, and it will pass that one up because it's already in the database. Okay, so I hope this helped. It's simple to use device IPs to add IP addresses that maybe they weren't discovered during auto discovery. This can happen if you have a remote site and there's a provider in the middle and you don't control that provider, then it's not easy to hop along the devices to find your remote sites. So maybe you'll add a couple of those IP addresses in here so that bitB can go directly and get those IPs. And then from that IP, it can auto-discover other IPs within your remote environment. Okay, well, thank you for watching the video today. There's other videos out here in the bitB video training series. Happy mapping with bitB, and we hope to see you back here soon. Thank you and have a great day.